Hey everyone, and welcome to our usual chat about the most important market trends of the week that we have every weekend. I'm one of the coaches of Ungar Academy, and before we start and see what happened on the markets this week, I invite you to please subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the release of all our new videos. And hey, why not also leave us a like to support our work? It really means a lot. Thanks so much. Hi, we are the Ungar Academy, and we teach traders how to make money in the markets. Our founder, Andrea Ungar, had been struggling with trading for years until he developed his automated trading method, which he used to become the only 4-time world trading champion. Subscribe to our channel for free tips and tricks. Well, it was another busy week for stock indexes. In the first sessions, they went up quite a lot, while they had a slight setback in the last two sessions. Volatility levels were quite high also this week, and the returns are close to zero, especially on the American markets. We see a 0.5% rise for the Nasdaq and 1% for the mini S&P, which is the one that earns most of all. On the other hand, the European stock indexes were negative. However, the volatility levels of all the stock markets are very high this week, both in the short term, we're at the 100th percentile, and as you can see, even over a longer time horizon where volatility is also very high. We can also see this by looking at the standard deviation chart. Now this is the Nasdaq, and if we take a look at the mini S&P 500, we can also see pretty high volatility values, and the same goes for the European stock exchanges. Volatility remains high also in the bonds market. Now this week the sector was negative again, and as you can see, the bond futures are going through a period of weakness. This is the American T-bond, and here's the European Bund, which is also very weak. Just look at those red candlesticks it made in the last two sessions. However, precisely because of this downtrend, we can see positive returns on the German 10-year bond again. And for a change, the best market of the week is the energy sector. In fact, RBOB gasoline continued to break through its recent highs and climbed by 6% this week. Natural gas, heating oil, and crude oil also went up a lot. All these markets perform very well, so the raw materials continue to rise. And we all know how this rise in the prices of the raw materials, and in particular in the energy sector, is one of the causes of the inflation situation we're currently experiencing. The metal sector also went up this week, although with fairly marginal returns. Here's silver, and here's platinum. Copper did a bit better, but as you can see, these markets are still pretty weak. The meat sector instead went up and made some very good returns this week. I mean, lean hogs did 4.79%, feeder cattle 4%, while the live cattle is a little further back. The soft commodity sector is generally positive. The only negative future is the orange juice, which after rising tremendously for some weeks has gone down over the last few days. The soft commodity that performed the best this week is cocoa, which gained over 6.5%. On the other hand, we see some mixed returns in the cereals sector. Among the best performers, we can find soy and its derivatives, so soybean meal and soybean itself, which is close to getting to its highs. Among the negative markets in the sector, we see corn, which loses 3.5%, and wheat. As for the currencies, we had a general recovery against the dollar this week. The euro in particular recovered against the dollar and is now gaining over 2.5%. So this was a really very powerful rebound. It's moved close to the highs of the last 2 or 3 months, and it did it in just 5 days. Now let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Also this week, Bitcoin remained around the same price level. So this week it was quite sideways, let's say. Now, we know that this level represents an important support level for this market. And for the moment, this support seems to resist. So, let's wait and see if the fall of Bitcoin, which as you can see is going through a well-defined bearish trend, will stop at this level or will break through it. As for volatility, we've already talked about it at the beginning of this video. So we know that the stock index's volatility is currently at the highs, both in the short and the long term. Actually, we can say that it's pretty high in all sectors. However, if we looked at the implied volatility, so the volatility that's derived from the prices of the options on the S&P 500 index, we can see that the term structure has a very particular shape. As a matter of fact, at the moment, we're in a a sort of a mixed condition. Although we are in contango now, as you can see, we've recently been in backwardation. Volatility has gone down a little bit, so now we're in a particular situation, a sort of a halfway condition between contango and backwardation. The VIX index is at medium levels now, after going down from the peaks it had recently reached. In fact, it almost touched a value of 40. Anyway, since the market seems to be still quite unstable, we should definitely keep an eye on the situation. In fact, this kind of term structure testifies to the fears that the operators have about the immediate trend of the stock indexes. So let's move on to the rollover calendar. Now, we've got 3 rollovers to do next week. We'll start on February 8th with the cocoa future. Then on the 9th, we'll roll the VIX future. And finally, on the 10th, we'll roll the coffee future. And with that, our weekly overview of the markets is over. If you're interested in investing in the markets with a systematic approach, just like we do here at Ungar Academy, I have an interesting resource for you. You'll find the link in the description of this video. It'll take you to a page from where you'll be able to access a free webinar by Andrea Ungar, who will introduce you to the world of systematic trading. From that same page, you'll also be able to get our book, The Ungar Method, by covering only the shipping costs. Finally, if you want to, you can also book a free call with one of our tutors to get a free strategy session. And before saying goodbye, I ask you to please leave us a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the release of all our new content. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.